Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Hold the Mic. I am your host, Ryan Shead. You might not notice, or you might notice I do not have my partner in crime, Ian, next to me. He had some things he had to take care of, but luckily I had a friend that I could reach out to that just said that they would come on the show, do a little guest hosting for us. So she is a social media famous, for sure, talented, consistent in what she does, loyal, which I appreciate, funny, understanding, much better to look at than Ian. And so, ladies and gentlemen, my good friend, Sadia. Sadia, thank you so much for coming on the show and filling in for my no good co-host. I appreciate
Stop
you.
it. I like, you made me laugh before I showed up, so I was like, well, there goes my intro lines.
I was like, let me just throw her off right off the get-go.
That was a good plan. So,
So, how you
sorry.
doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Ian with a little bit more hair today. I'm just here
And he's going to be quite jealous about that.
to with a little bit more hair.
Yep.
It
Well, we
recedes
both
in all of
are.
us.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's been a little crazy in the news. We keep talking about job security for those of us who do this on a daily basis. Are you feeling overwhelmed?
I, I try to compartmentalize, so I try to put it to, like, every fourth of an hour I check in on what's going on in the
Mm,
world, and then the rest of that hour I'm just like, you know what, we can reset, and then I go back to that. But I have faith in the fact that everybody's become a lot more active, and so if I think if it was people who are a lot less involved, I'd probably be a little bit more scared.
yeah, I agree. I will say I'm one of those people that has kind of started going, where were you guys in November?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's hard for me not to go there. It really is. But like you said, I think we should focus on the positives because saying that and thinking that way doesn't do us any good now. So, we should focus on the positive. They are waking up. They're seeing what's happening. There's videos all over social media today. We got one Republican member of Congress came out and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't know that provision was in the big beautiful bankruptcy bill. My fault." And everybody's losing their minds. We got another one who had to call the police on his own constituents
Oh, I didn't hear
because,
about this one.
oh yeah, it's pretty recent. So apparently he had to call the police and to have a couple,
Snowflake.
like, that's the problem. They can't take what's happening. They they don't understand that their own constituents, the people that voted for Trump, it's not just the woke left that they're trying to convince you it is. No, no, no. It's people that have come out and said, "No, I voted for Trump." And what is happening now is ridiculous. So, I mean, what's your feelings on the people that are coming out now and voicing their disdain for what's going on?
Well, I'll tell the Democrats, this is how you reach out to the right. you just let them you just let them there's no there I had a big problem with that. I think you and I had discussed that before. Like, why reach further right when you have your base right here, right? Like, that you can make stronger. But
Yep.
the Republicans took care of that for us. And living in Texas, I can tell you, like, I started seeing that maybe a couple of months ago, like when the tariff talk started, and people were starting to get educated because there's a lot of small business owners here, and they're like, oh, where am I going to
Yeah.
get my honey jars from? Oh, where am I going to do this from? And so literally, I've just watched the evolution over a couple of months down here in Texas. So it's refreshing to see that. It sucks that people have to get hit to be affected to say something, but
Yeah.
it's an interesting swing. But I hope that we can take this momentum into the midterms, and before that, we can start getting them to choke on some of these bills, like the one that's sitting in the Senate right now. So
Yeah. Now, do you feel like we as liberals, we need to focus on getting the Democratic Party's shit together in the meantime? Or do you feel like that's kind of time wasted and we just need to focus on whoever the candidates are?
well, that's the thing. So we've got like useless people like Fetterman. Is he really a benefit to us? Is he a really benefit to the left? If there are people that aren't doing their job, if they're voting along with the Republicans, because there are a lot of Democrats that have voted along with Republicans on different things.
Yeah.
If you are not going to do your job and oppose these criminals, then you should be replaced. I know a lot of people will disagree with that, but what good to us is three more Fettermans? It's no good to us.
Yeah, zero. I mean, we learned that with the Kirsten Cinema. We've seen these before.
Yeah,
So I think it was just so disappointing for many of us because we pushed for Fetterman. Whether we were in that
yeah.
district or not, a lot of social media people were pushing for him, and I will say something changed. Like that, or the dude was just really good at pulling one over. But
Yeah.
he seems to have flipped, and I hate to say it, but maybe that stroke did do some type of damage. I don't know that. I'm not a doctor,
Right.
but it's like, man, like was this always you, or is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we said that with cinema. We said that with everybody. So this guy, at
That's
least
fair. That's fair.
we
No.
have something medical to like fall back on. But if he's not showing up for his, I'm sure you're going to bring this up in your show. But if he's not going to show up for work, and he's like, I really don't feel like it, then be gone.
Yeah.
Retire.
No. Well, I mean, any of us,
It's a win-win.
we run businesses. So if you had an employee and they're just like, well, I'm not going to show up, what would we do?
Yeah, you got to go. You got to
Okay, bye. You don't want the job.
go. Right.
I mean, within reason, okay, if you have a disability, whatever, which I think he did after something about reading, or, it came in backwards, something,
Dyslexia.
whatever. Okay, cool. Let's accommodate that. But when you're just doing what he's doing, basically like shrugging your shoulders and be like, I just don't want to do my job. It's like, okay, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, we should have known when he wore the hoodies into, like, that should have probably been the moment we all went, eh?
Oh no,
Like,
he did put on a suit for when Netanyahu came to visit. So he knows when boss is in town to dress up, I'm just saying.
Did he?
Oh yeah.
Ooh, see, I didn't realize that.
Yes, he very much
Good.
did.
Good point. Fair. Well, speaking of criminals, I just wanted to start by one. I hesitate to say honor, but I want to remember. I want to remember George Floyd. So May 25th was the 5-year anniversary of his murder, and I took the time to research before I made this statement. And to all you MAGA haters out there, I just want to remind you, I'm not trying to start a cult. I'm just fact-checking one. And here it is. Donald Trump's criminal record is longer than George Floyd's.
Correct.
It's a fact, people. Go check. So y'all talk all this shit about George Floyd being a criminal, and Derek Chauvin was, doing his job and all that stuff. Like, when's somebody gonna do their job with Trump? Besides cholesterol.
Rogue chicken wing.
Right? Like, man, if I was Secret Service, I'd be bringing him 2 buckets of KFC every night. Here you go, sir. Eat some more, sir.
Somebody wrote this on I forget where it was at, but they're like, could you imagine how much, because he goes to eat out a lot. Can you imagine how much spit, vomit, piss is in like all the foods that he's had to eat like over the years?
Oh yeah, you know it. Oh, is that for Trump? Oh yeah, let me go fix it.
I'll do it myself.
I'll
Special
take care of
sauce.
that.
So that
I don't know,
gave me
what is that movie where the dude, like, he takes the buns and he's just like going to town? It's
I
like,
don't remember.
just somebody please come out and tell me that you've done that to Trump, please. Just come in the comment section. All you have to do is say, "Yep, I did it."
You're about to have
I'll know
a
what you
very
meant.
busy comment section.
Right? Like, yeah, that time he had gout. Yeah, that was what it was from. But a little breaking news. A panel of judges, the U.S. Court of International Trade, determined that President Trump does not have the authority to unilaterally impose tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
Thank freaking God. Because this dude is causing waves in the stock market to make him and his friends wealthy, and somebody's got to put a damn stop to it.
So can I ask you, because I was really excited to hear that.
Yeah, me too.
Who is he? I always get excited, right? But then I'm like, who's going to enforce this? Because it feels like we're like everybody's handing out tickets, but there's nobody going to court to do anything about it. You know what I mean?
The bad thing is I don't have an answer for you. And I think, we talked about it real quick in the green room. At some point, Congress is going to have to take these bullets that, these court cases are giving them. Like, the courts are giving you the ammunition you need. They're telling you, no, he can't do that. No, he can't deport, citizens. No, he can't just unilaterally do tariffs and completely screw up our stock market. No, he cannot keep doing this shit. Well, like you said, somebody is going to have to do this. And unfortunately, the 500 plus whatever it is people in Congress and Senate seem to have forgotten that we, the people, elect them to go up and have the power to protect us from people like Donald Trump, to go and use tariffs as a tool instead of a weapon. You know, like nobody says that no tariffs. Nobody says that. Tariffs have a purpose. They do. But then there's a point where you hit trade war, and that's what Trump has done. He has completely started a trade war with so many of our allies that the EU is making deals, China's making deals. Like, there are other countries that are literally benefiting from the infighting and the incompetency of the Trump administration. Like, let's not get it twisted. You know, you can all talk your patriotic American flag, all this, but the realities are that other countries are gaining on us right now because of our leadership, because Donald Trump is president.
Well, he went after the UK, I feel like, because Greenland decided to sign a mineral deal with the UK after all. And could you imagine? And so, like, that's what he's using. He's using tariffs. The thing about tariffs, and I know we've had them in place since before, but they were not really enforced. And that was to encourage the trade, because we don't really produce things raw here, as you know. Like, we're an assembly nation, if you want to call it that. So it's interesting that every single time he gets pissed off, that he uses this, like a narcissist does, is pulls the money card. And it's not just devastating the stock market, it's devastating businesses, day-to-day businesses. It's devastating human beings. Like, they're emotionally distraught. I don't know if you get messages about people that are like, they're unstable, thinking about like where their job security is going to be, or am I going to be able to keep my employees? So we literally, like, the guy resembles my grandmother when she had dementia right before she died. Like, these were the stages right before she stopped speaking and eating. She stopped speaking and eating, and she had these same kind of like just kind of wandering off, and she would get aggressive and all of this. So we're literally like, it's like watching somebody that's sick, that's also a narcissist, that's using his power constantly, and everybody's jeopardized from it. But the Republicans, who have all the power, aren't enforcing anything against him. So when these kinds of, like, when the judges stop him, I'm kind of like, and so
I know, and my pessimism is at an all-time high. I think just because I was screaming before the election, like, are we really gonna, like, not have these court cases figured out before this dude is elected? Like, that part was insane to me. Like, voters, we're going to go vote on this guy, and we don't know what the outcome of these court cases are. And again, folks, Donald Trump is a felon. Don't get it twisted. You can go search it. This is a fact. Now, he may have had all of the accountability that comes along with being a felon basically removed because he was president, but he's still a felon. Still did it. So... like I said, matter of fact, I got an email from Kamala Harris today asking for money.
I saw that.
And I unsubscribed. And when it asked me why, I said, because you couldn't beat a felon, fraud, and rapist. You're not worth investing in.
My thing is, it's not even her, right? Like, it's kind of like,
it's the party.
None of the Democrats did anything. I'm not going to hold her fully accountable for the
absolutely not.
actions of the rest of the party.
Totally agree.
But I completely agree with you. I'm just kind of like, you're asking for money right now. Like, come on, man. Like, you guys have to do something. Like, we've got, like, Greg Kazar. I don't know if you know who he is, from Texas. We've got a lot of these progressives, Maxwell Frost. You've got some of these people that are actually up there saying, well, we're all screaming at the camera or at the TV screen, and they're actually saying it for us. But if no Republicans are going to listen, until they listen and they start, like, stop kissing the ring, we're kind of, I feel like we're sitting ducks. I mean, Abrego Garcia is still in El Salvador. We haven't heard anything about him. I think was it his mayor or his governor that tried to go down there and they wouldn't let him see him just recently?
I think it was the governor.
Yeah, it was like a couple of days ago. That's his situation. So it's kind of like, there's got to be cracks from within, and I'm hopeful that Elon Musk speaking out against this budget bill it is this big, beautiful bill. I hope that's the start of some of the cracks in the foundation, and he starts taking some of the Republicans that value money more than Trump with him.
Well, I mean, do you think that there's a real possibility that Elon Musk could swing enough Republican senators to crush the bill?
Representative. If he does it right, he's a narcissist, and he's getting burned by another narcissist. So that's what I'm counting on. Yeah, it's his U.S. representative.
Thank you. Yep.
Appreciate it. I'm hoping that like their bromance was never going to last. Two narcissists will never get along, and one will be the downfall of the other. So if this is what it's going to take, I'm not rooting for Elon, but I'm here to watch it.
Hey, it's that old saying that a broke clock's right twice a day. And I am at a point where I'll take every advantage we can get. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
If Elon's gonna go against the bill, I'll use it. I'm cool. It doesn't erase the other 598 things that he's done that is ridiculous, but I'll definitely take the wins where I can get them at this point.
For sure.
Speaking of wins, this video that we have today of Donald Trump's interaction with a reporter, I mean, I love tacos, and I think you love tacos.
I love them so much more after today.
I want tacos as soon as we're done. So if you haven't seen it, Donald Trump had a little interaction with a reporter today talking about tariffs after he once again caved on tariffs, causing the stock market to fly up 700 points. Because again, people, that's what this is all about. He's manipulating the stock market. All of his friends know when the dips and the jumps are coming, and they're all making a shit ton of money. So, that's literally the game. But if you want to see him flip out for a second, here you go.
Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, isn't that nice? Chicken out. I've never heard that. You mean because I reduced China from 145% that I set down to 100 and then down to another number? And I said you have to open up your whole country, and because I gave the European Union a 50% tax tariff, and they called up and they said, please, let's meet right now. Please, let's meet right now. And I said, okay, I'll give you till Jeanine. I actually asked them, I said, what's the date? Because they weren't willing to meet. And after I did what I did, they said, we'll meet anytime you want. And we have an end date of July 9th. You call that chickening out? Because we have $14 trillion now invested, committed to investing when Biden didn't have practically anything. This country was dying. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world. I went to Saudi Arabia. The king told me. He said, you got the hottest we have the hottest country in the world right now. 6 months ago, this country was stone cold dead. We had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive, and you ask a nasty question like that. It's called negotiation. You set a number, and if you...
I'm sorry. You got to give me a heads up before.
Right? My wife says the same thing. Like, stop watching that!
Oh, my God.
But it's like... seriously?
I said a number. Like, if I was to take that transcript raw without him saying it, because for some
oh
reason,
my God,
explain away that behavior, that is not negotiation. That is not a plan. It is not a strategy. It is a man that is not okay in the head. That's just rambling on and Taco fucking Wednesday. Oh, sorry,
Yep.
I don't know if I can, but.
And speaking of rambling and everything, his Memorial Day message was just chef's kiss. He said, Happy Memorial Day to all, including the scum that spent the last 4 years trying to destroy our country through warped radical left minds who allowed 21 million people to illegally enter our country, which, by the way, that is nowhere near accurate. I fact-checked it in a video. You should go watch it. Many of them being criminals and the mentally insane, through an open border that only a competent president would approve, and through judges who are on a mission to keep murderers, drug dealers, rapists, gang members, and released prisoners from all over the world in our country so they can rob, murder, and rape again. All protected by these USA-hating judges who suffer from an ideology that is sick and very dangerous for our country. Hopefully, the United States Supreme Court and the other good and compassionate judges throughout the land will save us from the decisions of the monsters who want our country to go to hell. But fear not, we have made great progress over the last 4 months, and America will soon be safe and great again. Again, happy Memorial Day, and God bless America. Now, I don't know, I know you know, but for those of you out there who may not know what Memorial Day is about, it's about remembering the sacrifice of our soldiers. So basically anybody that was killed during a time of war. Now, in that message, did you hear the word Gold Star families, soldier, service, anything like that? There was nothing in that fucking message about the military at all. It was just all attacking the left. Because that's literally all this guy has. And then he goes to West Point for graduation. And by the way, the fact that he was wearing that damn MAGA hat there and nobody stopped him, like, West Point should have stopped and been like, sir, take the fucking hat off. And they let him do it. And that's the problem. Nobody checks this guy.
Nobody checks the guy.
Nobody fucking checks this guy. That never should have happened. But it did. So he's wearing his campaign propaganda up there while giving a speech, again, talking about himself, the left, Democrats, wives, all sorts of shit. But basically, not very much for the graduates, unless I missed something, Sadia.
I'm sorry, I couldn't put myself through that whole thing, so I'm going to trust you. I watched what I needed
I don't
to.
blame you whatsoever. So then the part that pissed me off, like, I expect the speech to be unhinged. But if you go look back, presidents that show up to give a commencement speech at West Point would usually stay and shake the hand of every single graduate that walked across the stage and became a commissioned officer.
Yeah.
Donald Trump said, oh, sorry, guys, I can't stay to shake your hand. I got to go deal with Saudi Arabia or whatever it was he said. And then hours later, they got video of him at his golf course playing golf. When I tell you this dude is the biggest piece of shit, like, I'm not exaggerating. He doesn't respect the military. He doesn't respect the service of our veterans. Mm-mm. Like, and you know what? I'll tell you a good one. As a veteran, I get my medication at Walgreens because it's close to my house. And I've been getting it there for 6 years. So my pharmacist knows me very well. And so I go in there to get my mental health med the other day, and she said, hey, I just wanted to let you know that with this new Trump thing, your medications are going to start costing more because they want you to go through the VA. And the VA pharmacy, it just sucks. Like, if you have a problem, good luck. It's not like this where I can go across the street, talk to my pharmacist face to face, and it'll be resolved that day. So it's like, why are you taking these options away from us? Why are you making it harder for us to get what we need? Why are you making it tougher for us to get medications? Money? Like fucking money?
Mm-hmm. But he won't even shake hands for money. So he didn't even shake hands. He didn't even wait to shake hands over there. And I'm sorry that you're at the dinner that people had to pay for. And
at the meme coin?
Yeah. And
which, by the way, he had the presidential seal on the front of the podium during his meme coin grift, which is very against guidelines. Like, that is a big no-no. Using the presidential seal for personal business to get money at a personal fundraiser, basically. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm sorry that your medication is going to cost more. By the way, I didn't mean to detract from that because that's
no.
That's just very like it's a big thing out there. There's a lot of people that I know that are kind of in the same boat. And I only wanted to go back to the handshaking thing because he stayed at a dinner where people paid $1 million per ticket for 20 minutes, spoke and left. He used the presidential seal, even though it was personal time. If it's personal time, then if he's doing this, if he's doing political favors for money, then he can't use his presidential immunity. You can't have it both ways. He's got to pick. He only does this to benefit himself, and whoever's corralling him through these different things that he can just tear apart. They're doing a great job. Probably Peter Thiel, probably all the
Yeah.
The Heritage Project people, they're doing a great job.
It's really, the part that's insane to me is to watch all the people that like are so willing to show belly. You know, like the Jake Tappers and all these people. It's like, you guys just have no like principles. Like, I don't know any other way to look at it. Like, you know what you're doing and what you're saying is bullshit. Like, you know it. And here's the thing too. People keep talking about, oh, Biden has cancer. We're going to investigate this and investigate that. Dude, go investigate the guy that can't put a coherent sentence together.
That's a good sequel.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys are throwing rocks at glass houses right now.
Yeah.
Like, for real. But it's just insane to me that they're willing to throw Biden under the bus and go after him, but it's like they're overlooking all the same shit with Trump. It's like
They're sandwashing it.
Exactly. It's like, well, if it wasn't okay for him, why is it okay for Trump? But isn't that the consistent way that they do business? Oh, it's fine for us, but not for you.
100% it is. And that's why when good news comes out about what federal judges do, I don't get as excited as I used to be, you know? And I think that actually started, like you said, from before the election. I'm like, we're not going to find out if this guy is a criminal before he gets presidential immunity. Are you guys kidding me? Like,
No.
he had documents in his bathroom, like,
Boxes.
and for boxes, we've had so much. It feels like that was 5 years ago, and it wasn't 5 years ago. It's just like everything is. Well, it was 5 years ago, but it's just like all the last, like the crypto thing, the Hexet thing. It's just like one after the other after the other. They just wanted a toddler that would run in there and just unplug everything from the wall, and that's what they got. They got what they paid for. That's what these.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
So I wanted to just quickly touch on the Trump delaying tariffs on the EU imports. After a call with EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, President Trump delayed imposing 50% tariffs on EU imports. So again, I hope Americans can see this for what it is. It's pure market manipulation. It's easy to play the swings if you know when the president is announcing tariffs or sanctions. He has proven that not one of them have a moral bone in their bodies. So if you don't think that they're all sitting on Signal sending out messages of when Trump's about to impose a fucking tariff, come on. So,
How many group chats there must be? Jesus Christ.
oh
I'm
my
so
God,
sorry.
it just keeps
Signal.
coming. It just keeps getting worse too.
Yeah. But then
What's the latest with him?
he got caught wiretapping like some of his own
That's
staff.
right.
And it
Yeah.
just everybody it's just flushed down the toilet because there's so much more shit to clog it, and I just can't.
And that really is, I mean, I'm glad you brought it up. So for those of you, and correct me if I get any of the facts wrong, but Hexeth is caught up in yet another, security breach issue. Honestly, this makes the security breach issues look like nothing. So he's apparently wiretapping people without their knowledge.
5 of them. I think it was
Five
5
of them.
I may be incorrect now, but yeah.
But one of them, like, they're going out and wiretapping people and not telling them.
Yeah. Your own staff.
Yeah. So what do you think that they're willing to do to you? Seriously, ask yourselves that, guys. Like, this is their own people. Like, they're eavesdropping on their own people to make sure that they're not turning on them. What do you think that they're willing to do to you? Go into your computer, your phone, your banks? Just saying.
He said it says it was 3 top aides after advisors were told that the aides had supposedly been outed by an illegal warrantless national security agency wiretap. Jeez.
But yeah, just insane.
Imagine the leaks that would happen from that, because they're not just sitting there talking.
Good point.
What they're going to order for lunch.
Yep.
So.
That really is serious, guys. I hope you let that one marinate for a second. We have the Secretary of Defense going around wiretapping people without going through the proper channels. So it's like, and what was the reason it was his aides?
It was his top 3 aides. Where'd it go? I just closed it. I mean, they just tried to bury it after yesterday. That's what I mean. Like they just kind of just keep it moving.
Trophy wives and yachts and Al Capone. Yeah.
If the fallout has left Hexeth with no chief or deputy chief of staff. Okay.
So it was literally the two closest aides to him.
And I mean, it's a long article, so I'll have to read through this. But I just want everybody to know that happened yesterday.
That's
and
how they're
like
doing business?
Yeah.
Damn. Ain't none of us safe. Ain't none of us safe.
No,
Shit.
no. I'm scared to go to Mexico next month. So.
We have family that they were planning on going out to somewhere, and I was like, not right now.
I'm thinking about it. I feel really bad if she's listening in. I'm like, I just have this weird like thing. Like, what if they stop you? What if they check your phones? Because they are doing that to people, and they're doing it because they can get away with it right now. Like they arrested somebody with a real ID. The thing that you're making the whole entire country go through to prove you're already real, but that real ID was still not valid.
Yeah, you're already ignoring that.
This is going to be a rough, yeah.
But I mean, that's a serious, I tell you guys this privately, but there's so many people in my life that I'm genuinely concerned about. Not because they're criminals, not because y'all, are illegal in any way, simply because you check off their boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And that terrifies me. Because, and I told you this, they come and pick you and other people in my life up, there's going to be a fucking problem.
I appreciate
I mean, we already have a problem with the people that are being picked up.
Yeah.
But, I don't need to wait for it to hit me personally.
Exactly.
For us to fight this fight. It shouldn't be happening, period. And like you said, they're doing it because they're getting away with it. I saw a really good meme, actually, just before we jumped on, and it was a picture of ICE. They've got their faces covered, blue jeans, t-shirt, their kit on, their bulletproof kit on and all that crap. And it's like, do you guys remember, a time where ICE and the FBI showed up looking like this and just picking people off the street? Because I sure as hell don't.
No.
Especially not covering your faces.
Nope, because they have to. That's the thing. You guys had so much problem with everybody else covering their faces. Now all of a sudden, that's like your go-to outfit of the day, like covering. It's purposeful. I don't even know if half those people. I don't trust it because there's so many ICE raids suddenly happening here in Houston. Where did all those ICE agents come from? I don't even think they're ICE agents at the time. They're probably just
stand
cops.
Back, stand by.
Yeah, it's probably a lot of stand back, stand by kind of people. It's just the sheer quantity of them. I'm like, there's no way there's this many ICE agents out there. It's on purpose what they're doing.
And it's like why they were crying about the 80,000 IRS people that were going to be hired.
Yeah.
It's like, where are all these freaking ICE people coming from though? Like they're coming out of everywhere.
If they're reproducing pretty fast at this rate, you'll need abortions. Maybe
so many comments. But Trump just keeps embarrassing us in the eyes of our allies. Trump today, and matter of fact, you were the first person that I saw this morning when I woke up. Trump proposes a $61 billion charge for Canada to join his Golden Dome missile defense system unless Canada becomes a U.S. state.
I'm so sorry, Canada. I'm so sorry. It's like having that crazy uncle that you just can't shut up at the
Can't shut up.
And they just dropped they just said the most racist thing and you're just like, I'm so sorry. That's what I feel like.
Oh man, that really is what it's like. I'm so I have yeah. It's a little different for me. I can relate in a different way. My father-in-law, I hate going out with him. I hate it. I love my father-in-law to death.
Sure.
We're close. But he aggravates the shit out of servers. He's just difficult to fucking be difficult.
Sure.
And I'm literally the guy. I have gone and pulled the server aside and said, going back to spitting in food, I understand my father-in-law is difficult. There's going to be a very large tip in this for you if you don't spit in our food. And every time I do it, the people, whoever it is, they instantly laugh. and I hand them like $40 or whatever, knowing what
Sure.
it's gonna be, and they take great care of us, and like they come back and they like wink at me as they're done, and I'm
It's
like,
fresh.
thank you so much, thank you for not spitting in your food and wiping my buns on your buns.
Your Wiping my buns on your buns. That's great.
Like that's what I feel. That's exactly how I feel. It's like, I'm so sorry for Trump. We will tip you very well when we get shit back under control.
But we can't tip them, because that's the thing.
Not
Like,
yet.
somebody said he's got to be trolling. If he was trolling, like everybody said that about Greenland, right? Look at what he did. We just talked about this a little while ago. Look at how he retaliated against the EU.
He's dead serious.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, you guys are gonna sign the deal? Instant tariffs on you guys." He is like, and he's got crazy people like Turd Cruz has been licking his ass on this shit for I don't even know how long. So there are, and that's how it started, right? Like the MAGA movement, people don't realize, came from the Tea Party. When you and I, when we saw it, we probably were like, "This is not good news," and people were like, "Oh, that's a fringe crowd."
Yeah.
Just like that, this fringe idea of Canada being a 51st, it's not a fringe idea. I'm telling you, he's trying to make it happen.
And his, more important, his supporters are latching onto it.
Yes.
Like they're not dismissing it.
Correct.
And again, and I've said it on this show so many times. How many times have we said this? You guys keep saying this can't happen. Oh,
Yeah.
The Constitution, this can't happen. Oh, the Supreme Court, this can't happen. Well, it has all happened.
Correct.
Everything that so many of you said, the stopgaps or the protections that would stop him from doing this and becoming this lawless president, they have all failed. And it goes back to what Sadia was saying at the beginning of the show. Like, yeah, it's great that all these federal judges are making these decisions, but who's going to enforce it?
Yeah.
That's where we're at, is who's going to stop Trump? Who's going to use these tools that the judges in the Supreme Court and whoever are handing us and stop them?
Yeah. We need to get clever.
Because where we're all sitting, those of us really paying attention, I'm not going to speak for Sadia, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of legislative ways that this is going to be fixed or stopped. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like going back to when Zelensky was talking to Trump in the Oval Office about Russia, and he's like, "You don't think that we've tried diplomacy? You don't think that we've tried that? Like, we've made deals, and he breaks them every time." And now we got video of Donald Trump 2 days ago standing on the tarmac going, "Oh, I don't know what happened to Putin. I can't believe this." It's like, dude, everybody's been telling you this. He doesn't abide by what he says he's going to do. Mm-hmm. And you're acting surprised? Like you're the last person on the fucking planet to figure out that Putin is a fucking piece of shit douchebag war criminal? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he also was surprised that his son could turn on a laptop with the power button.
That's
so, shouldn't be that surprised that he was last to the
Easily
party.
impressed. Oh God. Yeah.
So another news topic, NPR is officially suing the Trump administration over his executive order cutting its funding, alleging it violates their First Amendment. What do you think of that one?
I think that's great. And that's how we got to keep fighting back, and we got to keep encouraging this. The people with the money, us small folk, it's only a matter of time before they come after creators. You and I both know that. Us smaller folk are going to have a lot harder time. But if you start stopping them at these levels, that's where it needs to be. This can't happen because it always happens. Yep. Same. I stopped saying that after Texas banned abortions here. Okay. That's when I stopped saying that. So that was a little while ago. But yeah, I think it's great that NPR is fighting back. I think more people and more organizations need to continue to fight back. And that's what they're hoping, that they hope that this gets stuck in the legal systems. That's what Trump has always done, is that create a mess. And he knows, and Republicans know this, that we play with so much like, oh, well, we can't do this, we can't do that. They know the loopholes in the law. How do we not have crooked loophole people on our side that can't figure it out? Help out NPR, help out these people that I'm not equipped to know what language you can use, what rights are being violated in totality, but I hope that more people fight back.
Yeah, I definitely echo all of that. It's nice to see these actual, and again, I'm not saying NPR doesn't get news stories wrong and stuff like
Sure.
that, or there's no bias whatsoever. But in terms of, any type of news media, I'm gonna probably, I'm gonna go read something on NPR before I'm gonna go read something on CNN,
Hmm.
or any of them other type of channels, like BBC, NPR. Those
Yeah.
are two that I'm usually like, and of course you always got to go do your research. I sent you one. I sent you a Dolly
Yeah.
Parton
I was like,
thing.
no, no, don't
Yep,
post
and I was like,
that.
please tell me this is true because I needed a fucking good story, man. And it was like, it was AI bullshit. And I was like, damn it. It's like,
Yeah.
I hate that. It's
And a
like,
good
stop
thing
putting
is
fake shit out there. And it was
and
believable because it was Dolly.
100%. And I'll tell you guys, and I know a lot of writers, like professional writers, will use the long dash. But if you see a series of long dashes in an article, that is a huge red flag that it is an AI generated article. So,
Okay.
yeah, because AI has that rule programmed in, and for now, until they override that, they'll be like, instead of dash dash, it's like too long. It's like a long line.
Oh, yeah.
So just
See,
just
I never really. See, I'm one of those. Ooh, look, the button turns it on.
hey, at least you're not impressed. At least you can turn on the button. Trump can't even do that. Like,
Right? Hey, I'm doing the whole show over here, so I'm not that bad.
I know.
So I wanted to also touch on, because I know we only got like another half hour, 40 minutes. So Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced new visa restrictions targeting
Yes.
foreign officials allegedly involved in suppressing American free speech, particularly in cases involving content moderation demands and legal actions against U.S. citizens. What?
They're trying it.
Do you think they're going to get away with it?
No. I think this is so when I spoke to Congressman Maxwell Frost in his office, he said the one thing that we should have faith in is that like these stopgaps are happening all the way around. They're trying these different things, right? And that gave me some peace of mind because he's there like every week. He's like literally we just come up here and there's only a couple of votes at a time. And it's just so they don't have to face their constituents. He told me this off camera and I was just like, really?
Wow.
That's so interesting. He's like, they're so scared to be in their hometowns right now because people are pissed off. So they're going, the thing is that most of the stuff, 500 things they throw at the wall, maybe 6 will stick.
Yeah.
So they're doing a lot of this overwhelming campaign to see what's going to stick. And that's why I keep saying people need to fight back. They need to know that people are watching them. That if you make noise about someone that's been arrested, the kid that was arrested by ICE recently because he was a passenger in the car and he had a social security card and everything. He got out immediately because social media made so much noise because you guys made so much noise. And this is going to be a collective effort. Collectively, enough people did not show up at the ballot box or it was swayed, whatever you want to call it. But now collectively,
combo the two.
Yeah, now collectively we need to work together to protect each other.
Yeah, no, I agree. And when I introduce you, it's why I use the word consistency with you. Because, I've known you now for 4 or 5 years.
Since
and
COVID.
It's been a while, and in that time, you've actually, the way you've progressed has been pretty awesome because when we first started chatting, you were not at a point where you were doing, using your voice in your videos, and I always loved how you did the videos because you did a lot of, on-screen editing to make it all go to the music and, it was great. So to see you now pivot and to see how you are now, it's like, I don't know if it came down to like a confidence or why you started the way you did and are here, but and matter of fact, great time to plug it. If you haven't seen any of the clips, she not only Maxwell Frost you got to talk to, but you also got to talk to one of my favorites, Rep. Jasmine Crockett.
I love her.
And I love your clips from that, so I'm so glad you got to speak with her. And like any friend, it's just good to see your hard work paying off and to see you getting access to these people so that you can help project them. And I think, as you were just saying, that's going to be a big part of our movement moving forward is people like you and me and Ian and everybody using our platform to amplify the right stuff. And
Yeah.
that's, Ian's been saying that about the show, and we talk about it offline a lot. He's like, I want to be amplifying the right stuff. Like, yeah, we got to throw a little red meat, but at the end of the day, I want people to come to the show because they know they're not going to get a bunch of bullshit thrown at them. Like, we're not trying to mislead you. Not saying we always get it right, but we're not purposely trying to mislead you. Sadia, real quick, Stephanie asked if you're on Twitter.
Nope. I don't use any.
But tell them where you're at.
But my handle, that's SAA. Wait, that's right there, I guess. I don't know where it is on the screen. That's on Twitter. I mean, not Twitter. That's on TikTok. That's on Instagram. That's on Threads. I started a Facebook page. And I have to thank you, Ryan, because I think one of the shows that you had early on done, because he was putting together shows left, right, and center, and you were coming up with ideas about how do I pivot? Because it was a confidence thing. I am not the person. I've always been in production on the other side. So being in front of the camera was alien. It still kind of is alien territory. Like, a lot of times I just have to have my dog or my husband in the room, so I don't feel like I'm crazy.
To feel comfortable?
Yes, because I hate and I don't like to hear the playback of my voice. I know that sounds crazy.
No, not at all.
But I'm just like, yuck, nope. Once it's out, right? Like,
yeah.
So I hate TikTok when you open something and it just keeps replaying. But I have to thank you for that, because you were the one that's like, this, you should use your voice. You should do this. And over time, things have just become less funny and just too serious. And I was just like, you can't limit this to pointing at words on a screen. So thank you for encouraging that. And thank you for amplifying all the good reports. Everybody feels a lot overwhelmed. So it's good, even right now, while we're discussing the reality of the situation, that you're bringing up the good news, that we need to have a sense of community. And I know so many people are like, even my mom, who watches the news all the time and stays on, and she joined Instagram just to keep up with the news, like on our channels. She's like, I have to take a step back. Cool. Go take a break.
Yep.
There should be 6 more to step in while you take a break. And then when they need to that's how we need to be. So.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's kind of like now, I mean, Ian needed to take a break, and here you are stepping in, and that's the beautiful part of the community that we're building. And I'll take it a step further. Over the years, you can get into like conflicts with people that are even on the same side, fighting the same fight you're fighting. And, I got it to a point where it's like, well, I'm just done fighting. I'm just going to block you, whatever, leave it alone. And I've gotten to a point where I'm reaching out to people and being like, hey, man, I know we've had stuff in the past, but as we can see, this is some crazy shit going on. So everything we had going on was quite small compared to what we're dealing with. So how about we squash that and remember that we're fighting the same fight here. And, and most people are very receptive to that. I would say 95% of the people I've reached out to have been very receptive and been like, yeah, absolutely, let's do it.
That's awesome.
So, I hope that we can continue, I don't want to say rebuilding, but, just continue building on this community that we have, because again, I don't realize sometimes until I sit down and like talk with you how long we've been doing this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like we've gone through an entire presidency plus some together, and it's just insane. And just knowing that we have potentially, basically 4 more years of this guy. But going back to what you said too, we need to make sure that we support the judges that are making these rulings too. They need to know that the American people support them, doing what they're supposed to do, which is to protect the American people from a lawless government. Like that, they're supposed to be that check. That's what the Supreme Court is that's one of the many things the Supreme Court is supposed to do. Yeah. They're supposed to protect the American people and interpret the law in a way that best benefits the American people and our interests. And I can promise you that some of the judgments they've been making are not in our best interests, but probably in the best interests of Donald Trump and his billionaire friends. And then when you consider that some of the people sitting on the Supreme Court have been found to be getting nice gifts from billionaire friends, it all starts to kind of make sense. So when you have a court that is corrupt, potentially corrupt, or at least some of the people, and they're basically backing a lawless president, like Sadia said, who's going to protect us?
And
that's the scariest part.
And I would say thank the people that are voting in your interests. Like, if you see them out or you want to tweet out someone, I say encourage those people. Like, uh, we sit here and bitch a lot. I definitely do. But I definitely do like to. I do like to let people know
It's our
that
therapy.
isn't it? Isn't that the truth? I do like to let them know that we are watching them. We appreciate them voting the way they do.
Yes.
And that encouragement is just as important as being loud, I feel.
I agree with you 100%. I hope we can get more people to grasp onto that, because, and I'm just as bad as the next person, maybe even a little worse. I don't want to forgive these people. Like, it's like I look at them and I'm like, you're why we're here.
Yeah.
Like whether it was indifference, willful, whatever, you're why we're here. So I do struggle to let all that go.
I'm not saying let it go.
No, I know you're not. I'm just saying, me
McConnell,
personally,
yeah.
even though I should, I think I probably should, but I do struggle with it. But at the end of the day, we are where we are right now. And if there's going to be Republicans that are going to stop, like if there's Republicans that cross the aisle and vote against this big, beautiful bill in the Senate, you bet your sweet ass I'll be one of the first people online spreading their name and saying thank you very fucking much for stopping this disaster. Well,
yes.
But again, I will make sure that I can give them that thank you without, the backhanded slap that
yes.
Trump always finds a way to, give.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, thanks for doing that. Oh, but the left, blah, 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 blah. It's like,
no,
okay.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying include it. Keep an eye on them. Just because
yeah, for sure.
the clock is
100%.
right twice a day, the broken clock is still broken. So I guess what I was just trying to say is agree with what you're saying. I'm not a person that can forgive. Like Mitch McConnell, he's hanging on to dear life right now. I don't know how these people are still alive, and you've got like 3 Democrats that have just like, they're gone.
Evil lives forever.
God, yeah, they're like what do you call it? Cockroaches.
Yep.
So I just thanking them doesn't mean that you have to like them, and you don't have to publicly say that you like them. But they also need the encouragement because they're going up against a cult, and getting out of a cult.
And they're powerful.
Easy. Yeah.
And that's a part that I don't think even I wanted to admit. Clearly I underestimated. Matter of fact, somebody posted a rant from mine from before the election. And it was like, man, that was such a great rant, but it didn't age well compared to the election results.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, having that retrospect of where I was at that point, thinking that the election was going to go and what actually happened. It's like, wow. It was just really insightful, to see where we are now and just realize that not everybody sees this the way that I do. Not everybody saw Kamala Harris the same way that I did. And, the educated black woman with the experience is clearly going to be able to beat the felon and rapist and business fraud who didn't accomplish shit, his first 4 years. And like, that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
It just wasn't.
I think if she had gotten more time, I think if we had,
100%.
and it's kicking a dead horse, but if Biden had stayed a one-term president, we were able to pick someone that we could build up momentum behind, I think we would have had a better chance. I still don't think that he legitimately won 7 swing states. You can call me crazy, whatever you want, that's fine. I'm just saying.
No, and matter of fact, we have Election Truth Alliance. They are coming back on the show.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they reached out to Ian the other day, and they're going to be coming back. They got some more info for us. So, yeah, definitely stay tuned on that. The information is there. Like, I'm not saying it's like, oh, it's clear as freaking day, but it's there. Like Election Truth Alliance sent Ian and I the information for us to review before we brought it on the show, because we were like, we got to do at least a little due diligence here before we, put it on the show. And, it was definitely, what's the right word? Enlightening.
Sure.
It gave you numbers to justify the thoughts, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the first time you're seeing something going, okay, like, yeah, I had my suspicions, but now you're seeing something that's actually saying your suspicions there might be some validity to them.
Ooh,
so that's what I really took from that episode with them, and I'm excited they're coming back because you can't argue numbers.
No.
And that's the approach they're taking, which I really like. It's like, hey guys, these are just numbers. Like, this isn't biased bullshit. These are numbers, and the numbers just don't make sense.
No, and that's my problem with the Democrats. Nobody even fired back. Nobody was like, I know that it was within a margin where they couldn't. Like, nobody said anything. Like, yeah, that, I agree. I can't wait to see them actually, the Election Truth Alliance.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that we'd be here either. Like,
Yeah.
I remember when they were having, like, when I was on the campaign trail with them for Harris, and they were doing like the Hotties for Harris party, and I mean, I wasn't really partying because Gaza is always heavy on my heart, but I was there to support her and make sure that people that were not. But to see that energy in a place like Madison, Wisconsin was incredible. So it just doesn't make sense. But
No.
please.
No, it doesn't. And, you know, I think that we don't want to sound like the conspiracy theorists
No.
and be running around, you know, going, the election was stolen. But it would be one thing if it was like you, me, and Ian, and a handful of people that felt this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's just so many of us that are like, really?
Yeah.
Like,
no.
like even people on the right were going,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Like,
I have a friend that did the same thing. They're like, I didn't think he was going to win. I love him, but I didn't think he was going to win. And now he's like, now his whole metal scrapping business or whatever is totally screwed. And he's just like, I wish he didn't win. I'm like, you still love
you're
him.
the reason he won.
Yeah. You voted for him, right? Well, you were on Texas.
And that's
anyways.
Jen puts it in a way that I think probably makes me sound like, probably in a condescending way, but I feel like you're the same. And it's like, when you have like an intelligence combined with some knowledge, it's almost like you can see 5 steps down the road, you know? And it's like you're looking around going, do you all not see this? Like, I'm telling you what's about to happen. Like,
Yeah.
this is coming. Like, do you not see that boulder that's rolling down? No? Oh, okay. Like, that's what it feels like every day, because we see it. Like, we talk about it, all of us see it. But the Trump supporters don't. The MAGA people don't.
No.
You know, or they see it and they just refuse to acknowledge that they were wrong.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of it. There's a lot of people that when they shut their door and they're in the
Yeah.
privacy of their own home,
They're like, shit.
they admit it to themselves. They know
Yes.
they fucked up. But they're not going to admit it to us.
No. And
No.
and the thing is, like, people, the thing is, when he does croak, it's not like cults just continue. I know, whenever this day is, it's not like the cult continues to cult. Look at the history of cults. There's no cult that just continued right after the cult leader is gone. That was the start.
Yeah.
So if you think, yeah, JD Vance is scary as hell that he's going to run, or that he's going to be the president, right? Whenever this happens, scary as hell. But they will not have the same pull. They will not have the same cohesion.
They're not Trump.
So when he croaks,
They're going to need a new vessel. And I'm so glad you're saying this, because you're 100% correct. Donald Trump is the vessel, and he is an extremely powerful vessel. He is because of his brand. But that's all Donald Trump is. Like, he hasn't done shit since the 80s.
Nope.
Like, if it wasn't for The Apprentice, he never would have recovered from the 90s. Seriously, it's a fucking fact. Financially, it was The Apprentice that kept him afloat, and then he started struggling again, and then he ran for president, and all of a sudden he became a fucking billionaire. It's like, Jesus Christ.
And it was before The Apprentice where he couldn't rent out like this part of his building. I remember that was going to take him down, and the Russians, some Russian oligarchs, rented out this huge amount of building. Yeah.
He made muffins means yes. Not that I'm doubting you guys, but Trump made gains with male people of color. Didn't make a lot of gains with black males. He made a lot of gains with Latino males. And we've talked about that on the show here a lot. And even indigenous males for some reason.
That doesn't make sense.
The indigenous one didn't, but
none of that does. I don't even pit those. I didn't even share those graphs because I'm like, that's beyond the point. Like, the point is the Trump base. That's what got, just because you have a few fringe elements.
Yeah.
Does not excuse the.
Just because you have a few black friends.
Yeah. So just because you had a few voters to say like, oh, you made a few gains, I still blame the entirety of the the foundation of the Trump base.
Yeah, and like you said, we as the Democratic Liberal Party, I know you and I don't really identify as Democrats, but it's like we just shot ourselves in the foot. And I knew it, and I took a lot of crap on my initial knee-jerk reaction was I was pissed off at Biden. I was pissed off because I said, you just fucked us. It's like, you just fucked us 100 days out. Yeah. And everybody jumped on my shit and said, oh, no, this is great, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I jumped on the wagon, played the good soldier, and did what I was supposed to do, thought we had pulled it out, and then, like many of us, election night, matter of fact, we were live, so you can literally watch the fucking color go out of my face. Yeah. And Ian kept being like, no, it's not over. I'm like, bro, it's over.
Yeah.
Like, it's over.
I'm not a big Biden fan. I don't think that he would have won against Trump, if that means anything.
No, I agree. I don't think he would have beat him.
If he had stepped down earlier than that 100 days, I think that, like I said, even if it was Harris, because she's the other person on the ticket, so she would have automatically, if he had stepped down while it was his term and we didn't have, our ability to pick a candidate, it would have been her. I think if she had a little bit more momentum, but that doesn't, again, like I said, that's the swing state thing. I can't.
But even the momentum, like,
it
did all the MAGA people just like send out emails and say stay home so they think we're not voting? And
no.
All the people showed up to the Kamala Harris things? Like, come on.
I know people who never voted that were
sense.
Coming out for her in Texas.
Same.
Okay, and they were like, she looks like me. She's part of my community. I know South Asians that for some reason think they're Republicans, and that's a whole nother rant. But they were for the first time like, okay, she's also South Asian. She's half South Asian. It was the first time I was like, oh shit, can we do this? Even Paxton admitted that if he hadn't thrown out Houston, they hadn't stopped. There were people still in line. If they hadn't stopped the election in Houston, that Texas would have gone blue this time. You can't tell me all these. It just, we are here. It is what it is. Like, I keep arguing with myself like on weird nights about this, and then I have to bring myself back and be like, but we're in the alternate reality. We're in the bad place.
Yeah, we're in an era where things just don't make sense, and it's like for our sanity, we almost have to stop trying to make sense of them.
Yes.
And that's just a weird place to be. It's just a weird headspace to be in. Like, you have to try to just, like you said, to protect your mental health and your sanity, you have to put everything in its place, in its box. Yeah. So I'm going to try to power through a few things because there's just so much. But the Trump administration has halted student visas and targeting universities. President Trump orders suspension of new student visa interviews to expand social media vetting, particularly affecting applicants from China and South Korea. Harvard University faces the loss of $100 million in federal contracts over alleged ideological bias as the administration pushes to redirect funding to trade schools. Meanwhile, Trump is selling $5 million gold citizen cards while approving white Africans and cartel family members' entry into our great country.
Oh, and the Tate brothers.
So I guess money is king.
Money is king. And I never thought, like, people used to step wrong and it would be like, oh, the president has, and now it's just one thing after the other.
I mean, I want to start this next part off with, speaking of money is king, I just want to preface this with, what if Barack Obama had done this? Okay? So if and I want to ask you this question because you probably know this better than I would. Is it normal for presidents to start issuing so many pardons this early on in their presidency?
I mean, if you got to let your friends out and all his friends are in jail, I guess not. If all your friends are jailbirds, I guess not.
But I mean, isn't this usually? I mean, I know that like there have been
towards the end.
And there have been instances where presidents have done pardons in the middle of their presidencies for whatever reason, but not like this.
But he's doing. That's what I'm saying. So that the flying monkeys that narcissists have to go out and do his bidding, right?
Yeah.
He's running out of flying monkeys.
He's running out of monkeys, so he's got to refill the barrel.
And so what better way to fill up your barrel than go to the people that are going to be loyal to you, fresh loyal, right? Like, this isn't like, oh, we're loyal to you. This is, I just got you out of jail.
Yeah, they're not disenfranchised yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they feel like, oh, okay, that's why he's doing it. And
Yeah,
I
no,
know
you're
somebody
totally right.
that
So I have a list of some of the monkeys that. I'm sorry, I couldn't finish it.
got a list of some of the monkeys. Oh, cool.
Oh, well, let me make sure I
Yeah.
don't start with a black guy's name. Shit.
Oh, God.
No, let's
Right.
start with Todd and Julie Chrisley. These are just some of the pardons that Donald Trump has done in the last like 48 to 72 hours or so. So again, keep that all in mind. And keep this in mind too, that Jared Kushner's father, Charles Kushner, was pardoned by Donald Trump in his first presidency for felonies. And now he has been appointed as the ambassador of France. And Cory Booker was the only Democrat to vote for it. So
Yep.
again, fuck you very much, Cory Booker.
Thank you.
Here's some. So Todd and Julie Chrisley, if you don't know who they are, a reality TV couple from Chrisley Knows Best, were pardoned after serving time for a $36 million bank fraud and tax evasion scheme, right up Trump's alley. Their daughter, Savannah Chrisley, revealed that Trump told her the couple had received pretty harsh treatment and they don't look like terrorists.
Okay.
If you're white, you don't look like terrorists.
Nope.
Um,
I'm just
Fuck me.
gonna bite my tongue while you do this because
You shouldn't. I don't want you to. The next one would be Michael Grimm. Donald Trump issued a full pardon for Grimm for concealing $900,000 in gross receipts from a Manhattan restaurant he was a member of called Healthalicious. An accountant then used the false information to file false federal and state tax returns for the restaurant. And I believe Michael Grimm was a former representative, if I remember
I think
correctly.
so. I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
James and Marlene Kernan, a couple that pled guilty in 2009 to willfully employing a 3-time convicted felon at their businesses. Both were sentenced to probation. Devin Archer, business associate of Hunter Biden, convicted of securities fraud. Why is Trump pardoning Biden?
I didn't even know that one.
I guess money.
Yeah, I didn't even know that one. And there's so many that I didn't.
There's more. Benjamin Dalo, Gregory Dwyer, Arthur Hayes, Samuel Reed, executives associated with cryptocurrency exchange BitMEX, convicted of Bank Secrecy Act violations. Trevor Milton, founder of Nikola Corporation, convicted of securities and wires fraud. I'm seeing a trend here.
A trend, yeah.
Yeah, this one kind of pissed me off. Former Lieutenant Mark Bashaw. President Trump just fully pardoned former Lieutenant Mark Bashaw, who was court-martialed in 2022 for refusing to wear a face mask and follow COVID rules. And for those of you who don't know, being court-martialed, that is a completely different court than a federal or state court. It is a military court, one that Donald Trump has zero fucking say over. But I expect this from a draft-dodging coward and his supporters. They don't understand mission readiness. They don't understand a leader setting a good example for his subordinates. Following orders of your commander-in-chief. There's so many reasons that this dude got booted out and got court-martialed. Like, these are all things that you have to do. You're in the fucking military. If you're told to put a mask on, you put a mask on. If you're told to go get a vaccine, you go get a vaccine. And for those of you who remember, anthrax shots. The anthrax vaccine that a lot of people in the military had to get during the war in Iraq, and I think it even started in 91, 92 during Desert Storm, but I could be wrong about that. But it was definitely going on in like 06, 07. And those shots sucked ass, and it was like a series of shots, and it was terrible. And you just did it because it was part of the list to go on deployment. So the fact that this guy's getting a pardon just... They're all crooked pieces of shit. And this is another crazy one. Former Culpeper County Sheriff Scott Jenkins, guilty of accepting more than $75,000 in bribes last December in exchange for making several businessmen law enforcement officers without them being trained whatsoever. Jenkins, a longtime supporter of Trump, was sentenced in March to 10 years in prison. He was set to report to jail on Tuesday, but due to Trump's pardon, he will not spend a single day in jail. Sheriff Scott Jenkins, his wife Patricia, and their family have been dragged through hell, Trump wrote in his post on Truth Social. Trump said Jenkins was the victim of a overzealous Biden Department of Justice. The judge who presided over Jenkins' case, Robert Below, was appointed by former President Joe Biden, but it was a jury trial. Trump called Jenkins a wonderful person who was persecuted by radical left monsters and left for dead. Prosecutors said he accepted bribes from 8 people, including 2 undercover FBI agents. These were in the form of cash and campaign contributions. Jenkins' position was an elected one. Jenkins was found guilty on 1 count of conspiracy, 4 counts of honest services fraud, and 7 counts of bribery concerning programs receiving federal funds. Trump is reinforcing his army of morons and traitors, if you all haven't figured that out yet. He's, like Sadia just said, he needs more monkeys. These are the monkeys. These are the people that he is setting up to be loyal to him no matter what. So that when he picks up the phone and says, hey, Todd Chrisley, I need money. I don't care how you fucking get it, but get it to me.
Exactly.
And he's going to go do it.
Yep.
Like, that's where we're at, guys. And then here's another one for those of you who follow us from Michigan. Governor Gretchen Whitmer was almost kidnapped. Well, people were planning to kidnap her. President Trump said today that he is considering pardoning the men who are serving prison terms for conspiring to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. He says, I will take a look at it, Trump said in the Oval Office today. The president suggested that the men were unfairly convicted, asserting that they got railroaded. You know, they were drinking, and I think they said stupid things, but I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, he needs useful idiots, and he just got a whole bag of them.
And we're just going to sit here and watch it happen.
And everybody else is going to go in jail in their place. Everybody else that's doing the right thing is going to go to jail in their place. That's the plan here.
Well, you know, we've been saying, and I know, you know, we're not the only ones, but Derek Chauvin, I think, is going to be next. Now, granted, he won't get pardoned off the state charges as long as Tim Walz is there.
Correct.
But I think Trump will just pardon him from the federal charges just to get a fucking rise out of everybody.
Yep, and I hope people are ready for that. I hope, and I can't. I'm not somebody to.
Black folks stay home.
Yeah, it's not your.
That's what they want.
I shouldn't have to say it.
But
I don't want.
But we do.
I don't want them. I don't want anybody hurt because he's trying to rile people up. If anybody shows up, sorry, Ryan, it's going to have to be y'all to get this done.
What I mean is, President Trump is trying to get black people out in the streets.
Yes, and that's my biggest fear. People of color, black people, they're trying to get them out in the streets and then go after them because
the majority's white. It's time for white Americans to get off their fucking ass and realize that just because it doesn't directly affect you, we need to be out in these streets. Correct. You know, when June 14th comes and Donald Trump's playing circle jerk with all of his military people spending $40, $50, $60 million in taxpayer dollars for his military parade, even though he's clearly shown that he doesn't give a shit about our military, not showing up for dignified transfer of bodies at Dover Air Force Base, not shaking hands with West Point graduates. Like, the list is quite long. He doesn't give a shit about the military. So this parade is not about honoring our military, honoring 250 years of the Army, or anything like that. It is literally a parade for his ego. That is all it is. Speaking of corrupt bullshit, Jeanine Pirro from Fox News.
Yeah, she just got hired.
She just was appointed as interim U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia. What the actual fuck?
There is nobody left at Fox News for him to appoint.
I'm so glad you said that, my friend, because I asked ChatGPT and Justice AI, who sponsors our podcast, I asked them how many former Fox News correspondents has Donald Trump appointed to his current cabinet. And it gave me a list. It said Trump has appointed at least 23 former or current Fox News correspondents. For example, Pete Hegseth, former co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend, serving as Secretary of Defense. Sean Duffy, former Fox Business host, serving as Secretary of Transportation. Dan Bongino, former Fox Nation host, appointed as Deputy Director of the FBI. Tulsi Gabbard, former Fox News contributor, serving as Director of National Intelligence. Tammy Bruce, longtime Fox News contributor, appointed as State Department spokesperson. Kimberly Guilfoyle, former co-host of The Five, serving as U.S. Ambassador to Greece because apparently Junior dumped her and they needed to get her the hell out of there. And Mike Huckabee, former Fox News host, appointed as U.S. Ambassador to Israel.
Yeah.
Just to name a few.
Yeah, there's
like you
nobody
said, do
left.
they have anybody left over there?
Nope, there's
Like,
nobody. That's just the way that Fox News
the
is going
camera
now.
guy's going to be up for appointment soon.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? It's such a shitty time, like, to even look
It
at it.
is.
Because I remember people used to be like working. Oh, I want to work at the White House, working at their career, trying to prove something. Now you just got to sit there and kiss ass, and
Yeah.
the veil that used to be over my eyes about this country. I was born and raised here. It's been thrown. It's been torn to shreds, thrown away, and I
It's
can't
not the
imagine little
same
kids.
as it's not the same as it used to be for us, though.
No, and I'm not saying that we're a perfect country. I have
No.
so many criticisms of this country, especially their foreign policy. But there was a dignity that was there that which there's no dignity in anything we do now.
We could
So,
at least agree on things that made sense for everybody.
correct.
There was a point where we could do that. You know, like we don't need to look back that far to remember a time when Congress could actually get shit done.
Yeah.
Like they could actually go, okay, that makes sense for my constituents too. Fuck it, yeah, I'll vote for that. Like that's the way the Constitution was written. Was that grown adults would be in the room to be able to say, okay, let me, I can put my ego aside, my political, desires aside for my constituents, because that's the fucking job. You're elected to go up there and represent your constituents. So, when you go to your town halls and your constituents are basically throwing shoes at you, maybe you're not doing your job. Maybe the people that elected you are trying to tell you that they are not happy with your job performance over the last 4 months. Because that's what this is. You're going to your town halls, your area, your city, and people that voted for you and voted for Trump are showing up and they're telling you, this is not fucking okay, and if you don't go fix it, we're going to find somebody that will. Because that's what they're telling them.
Yep.
Either you go fix this or we're going to vote your ass out. And instead of going, you're right, let me go take care of it, their response is, call 911. Can you come arrest these people? Just go do your fucking job.
I didn't even know about that until you told me today.
So, I'm going to get rid of these last two because I would love to do a show with you on this. Manufacturing facing workforce challenges. President Trump emphasizing revitalizing U.S. manufacturing, focusing on high tech and defense production. However, the sector faces significant challenges, including a shortage of workers, an aging workforce, and declining immigration of skilled laborers. Like stopping people from coming to universities. Approximately 450,000 manufacturing jobs were unfilled as of March 2025, on top of AI threatening white-collar jobs. Dario Amati, CEO of Anthropic, warned that artificial intelligence could eliminate up to 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs within 5 years, potentially raising unemployment by 10 to 20%. Fields likely technology, finance, law, and consulting are most at risk. So I think this is where the universal basic income conversation is going to be reintroduced. And the crazy thing is we seem to be going in the complete opposite direction of taking care of people that aren't going to be able to have jobs because there just aren't going to be it. They're all going to be filled by other shit. So I'd love to do a show with you just on that. But I know that we've only got you for a few minutes. Instead, I would like to hear what one positive thing you have for the week so far.
One positive thing was probably them saying the tariffs thing. That's a positive thing for me. Positive thing for me is just seeing like people that have never, like I said, that have never been involved in politics. There are local elections here that people don't normally show up for. They're like, I don't know who to vote for. And so I'm giving them information on that. So those are two positive things. And I'm hopeful only because everybody's involved. It would be a lot more hopeless if nobody was.
Well said. No, I love that. I agree with that. It is less hopeless because I know that I have, you and Ian and, and we all text each other, and I know you have other people too that you lean on in the community. It's just, I'm glad we have each other. And that's actually my positive was it's nice having friends who show up when you call and ask for a favor, like co-hosting their podcast. And so, like I said in the beginning, you already know that I value our friendship because of so many of those things that I listed in the beginning. It can be a little difficult to find real people doing some of this stuff. So I've always appreciated the fact that you've always been real with me, and you are as advertised. So I always appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
So with that, friends, Ian will be back with us next week, and I believe we will have a guest on the 11th. Election Truth Alliance is coming back on the 11th, so make sure you tune in for that. But there are tons of shows on our YouTube channel, so if you haven't already, make sure you like, subscribe. You can download us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart. We're everywhere, so there really is no excuse for you not to take my lovely face and this awesome voice with you everywhere that you go, and Ian too. With that,
Damn.
I'll leave you guys as I always do with much love. Keep fighting, but most importantly, make sure you all stay safe out there.